Hello everybody, in this video we'll be talking about polymers. Polymers are large organic molecules that consist of repeating monomers. Monomers are small organic molecules that make up the polymer. Now you can think of the polymer as a brick that makes up a brick wall, which represents the much larger polymer. In this video we'll look at different types and structures of monomers and the polymers that they do make up. Addition polymers are made from monomers that contain a carbon-to-carbon double bond. These carbon-to-carbon double bonds are reactive and responsible for connecting monomers together to produce a polymer. For example, multiple ethene monomers undergo polymerization to produce polyethylene. In polymer chemistry, ethene is typically referred to as ethylene and polyethylene, polyethylene. I'll be using these two terms from now on. Let's have a closer look at how polymerization is achieved. Addition polymerization consists of three main stages: initiation, elongation, and termination. Initiation begins with the autocleavage of hydrogen peroxide, which produces two hydroxyl radical molecules. This is hydrogen peroxide, and the bond between the two oxygen atoms is especially weak. So what usually happens in this molecule is that the two electrons will go towards the adjacent oxygen atoms. This produces a molecule that consists of an oxygen and hydrogen, where the oxygen atom contains a single unpaired electron. We call this a radical molecule. This radical molecule, specifically the unpaired electron, is able to react with the double bond from the ethylene monomer. The reaction here produces another organic radical molecule, where we again have an unpaired single electron that is very reactive. This is followed by elongation, whereby the organic radical molecule formed from before reacts with another ethylene monomer to produce a much larger organic radical, where we have formed another single unpaired electron. Now, as you can imagine, the larger organic radical molecule from before can further react with another monomer to produce an even larger molecule as shown below. Since this molecule still has an unpaired electron, its length will continue to grow by reacting with a further ethylene monomer. Hence, the name of this stage is called elongation. There's no definitive number of monomers that can be added to this growing molecule. The main factors that influence how long elongation can go on for is the time of reaction and the number of monomers that's being supplied or are readily available. This is why polymer molecules have different lengths. Polymerization terminates when two radical molecules react together to form a final product that does not have an unpaired electron. Therefore, this final molecule here, it is not a radical molecule. In this structural formula of polyethylene, the letter N can represent any integer, that is a whole number. This is because the number of monomers already added to this growing molecule. This is because the number of monomers added to this growing molecule during the elongation phase is completely random. Another way polymerization can terminate is when two large radical molecules react to form an even larger polymer that no longer has an unpaired electron to react further. Again, this reinforces the concept that every polymer molecule is large but has different lengths or sizes. Let's summarize how monomers can be added together to produce an addition polymer. In initiation, a molecule of hydrogen peroxide decomposes to generate two radical hydroxyl molecules, which reacts with a double bond in the ethene monomer to produce another organic radical over here. While I use hydrogen peroxide as an example, please keep in mind that there are other compounds that can also be used to produce these radical molecules that will initiate the polymerization. In elongation, monomers are added sequentially to the radical molecule produced in initiation. This increases the length of the organic molecule, eventually forming a longer polymer. Finally, polymerization terminates when two radical molecules, shown here, react together to form a final molecule without an unpaired electron. As a result, this molecule will no longer react and becomes a final product of the reaction. In the HSC chemistry syllabus, there are 4 addition polymers you need to know: polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride, short for PVC, polystyrene, and Polytetrafluoroethylene, short for PTFE. For each polymer, we'll discuss the structure, properties, and uses. I'll be using these examples of polymers to demonstrate how the structure affects the polymer's properties and how the properties plays an important role in determining their uses. Polyethylene is an addition polymer that I used to demonstrate the production of addition polymers in another video. Polyethylene is formed from the polymerization of ethene, which is the monomer shown here. There are two types of polyethylene, low density and high density polyethylene, short for LDPE and HDPE respectively. LDPE and HDPE have different structures, properties, and uses. High density polyethylene, HDPE, consists of polymer chains that are straight and linear. As a result, these linear polymer molecules can compact very nicely without creating much unused space. As a result, they have high density and allows for extensive dispersion forces to form between these long linear chains. The extensive dispersion forces gives rise to high melting point as well as a crystalline structure for the polymer. In addition, the linear polymer chains causes the polymer to be very rigid as opposed to being flexible, as we will see in a moment with LDPE. Some typical uses of HDPE utilizes its rigid and crystalline structure. For example, it is found in most plastic utensils such as cutleries, plastic bottles as you can see in this image here, and plastic toys. Low density polyethylene, LDPE, also is formed from ethylene as the monomer, but the polymer chains formed are branched as opposed to linear as we saw before. This diagram here shows a very nice illustration of what branched polyethylene looks like. As a result of the branched structure, this type of polyethylene has a lower density. As a result, there is a weaker dispersion force between these branched chains, as the surface area between polymers have greatly reduced due to their branched structure. So compared to HDPE, LDPE have a much lower melting point, and it is important to note that they are amorphous. That is, the structure can be molded very easily as opposed to the crystalline structure that we saw in HDPE. LDPE is also soft and flexible. The application of LDPE is quite different to that of HDPE. LDPE is found in plastic bags, films, and plastic packaging. It is very important for you to know the similarities and differences between HDPE and LDPE. While both of these polymers are formed from ethylene as the monomer, their structure varies in terms of whether it's linear versus branched. For HDPE, its linear structure gives rise to a higher density, which allows for stronger dispersion forces, a higher melting point, and a crystalline structure, as well as a very high rigidity. All of these properties are very useful in its uses as plastic utensils, bottles, and toys. In contrast, the branched form of LDPE has a much weaker dispersion force and therefore has a lower melting point than HDPE, and it also has an amorphous structure which allows for its flexibility. Again, these properties are very useful in its application in plastic bags, packaging, and films, all of which require some degree of flexibility. The next addition polymer is Polyvinyl Chloride, PVC. This polymer is produced by using chloroethene as the monomer. The structure of chloroethene is shown here. This polymer is very similar to polyethylene, except one of the hydrogen atoms in each monomer is replaced by a chlorine atom. As a result, the polymer chains acquire some degree of dipole moment. This is why between polymer chains of PVC, we have extensive dispersion forces as well as dipole-dipole forces. The extensive dipole-dipole forces on top of the dispersion force is the reason why PVC has a higher melting point than both LDPE and HDPE. Some important properties of PVC include lightweight, durable, acid resistant, that is, it doesn't react in the presence of acids. It is electrically insulating, that is, it doesn't conduct electricity. And it can be either made into a rigid or flexible polymer depending on how PVC is produced. For rigid PVC, these polymers are typically found in pipes, mainly due to the fact that they are acid resistant and durable, especially resistant to weathering. On the other hand, flexible PVC are found in cling wraps, cable and wire insulation due to their electrical insulation property, and inflatables as they are very flexible and malleable. Polystyrene, PS for short, is made from a styrene monomer. The systematic name for styrene is ethylbenzene. It's important for you to recognize that benzene is a very common structure in organic chemistry. It is a 6-carbon member ring with alternating double bonds as shown here. So a styrene monomer is a 2-carbon alkene whereby one of the carbons is attached to a benzene ring over here. Polystyrene is a polymer that contains multiple of these benzene rings, which are very, very bulky in structure. This is something that you need to definitely remember. It is very bulky in structure. The bulky benzene rings in polystyrene causes the polymer to become very brittle. That is, it breaks very easily when forces are applied onto it. Some other important properties of polystyrene include it is transparent, that it is see-through. It is also very lightweight and has a low density. And furthermore, it is both thermally and electrically insulating. Polystyrene is used in a variety of applications. The most common use is in styrofoam. This is foam found in food containers and packaging, as shown in the picture here. This is mainly due to the fact that polystyrene has a very low cost when it comes to production. It is lightweight and it is thermally insulating, so it's good for food storage. Its transparent and lightweight properties also enable polystyrene's use in cassette cases, shown here. And furthermore, polystyrene's electrically insulating property allows its usage in the handle of multiple tools, including screwdrivers. The last addition polymer that you need to know is Polytetrafluoroethylene, PTFE. This polymer is produced from a monomer called tetrafluoroethene. Tetrafluoroethene is a 2-carbon alkene where all the hydrogen atoms have been replaced by fluorine. So essentially, PTFE is exactly the same as polyethylene, but with all the hydrogen atoms being replaced with fluorine atoms. The implication of this structural change is that PTFE contains extensive dispersion and dipole-dipole forces between polymer chains. So PTFE has a relatively high melting point compared to other polymers. Furthermore, PTFE is also flame resistant, acid resistant, and has a low friction. The most important use of PTFE that you need to remember is in Teflon, found in non-stick frying pans. This is because PTFE has a very high melting point and also it is flame and acid resistant. Both of these resistances are very useful in cooking. A secondary use of PTFE is in mechanical components such as gaskets. This is because they have a high melting point and more importantly, they have a low friction, which is a very useful trait to have when it comes to engineering. Let's quickly summarize the different types of addition polymers that we went through and what I want you to take away for each of the polymers. HDPE and LDPE are both made from ethylene as the monomer, but HDPE is rigid and crystalline, found in plastic utensils. On the other hand, LDPE is more flexible and has an amorphous structure, therefore it is found in plastic bags. PVC is a polymer that can be made either as a rigid structure or a flexible one. Rigid PVC is found in pipes, whereas flexible PVC is found in cling wraps. Polyethylene is relatively lightweight and has a low cost to manufacture. It is found in styrofoam, such as in containers and packaging. PTFE is chemical resistant and has a high melting point. It is found in non-stick frying pans. That concludes the video on addition polymers.